we're going over to Texas, and we're talking to Lynn. Hi, Lynn. How may we help you today?
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome. How may we help you?
So it's been about 5 months, and the affair that my husband has had is somewhat ended, and I say somewhat because there's not a whole lot of clarity. But the other night we tried to have a conversation about, since they still have to work together, where we are and moving forward. And we've had amazing sex the last few weeks. And to me, it was more of us emotionally bonding. But I think the other night when I was trying to gain some more perspective of where he was at, I may have pushed a little hard, and he went and shut down and just decided to tell me that it's only physical and there's nothing else there for him beyond that. I've been standing and working to forgive and trying to move us along for the sake of us and our children. We've been together 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so now part of it is it just something he said that was mean because I pushed? Does he really mean that? And then I come into, there's some self-respect there for me. And if I just make the decision and push him into another bedroom, because to me, it's much more than just physical.
Okay, I'm so sorry for your pain. And so are you telling me that he's still involved with her?
I'm sorry?
Okay, did I misunderstand Kimberly?
I think she said she believes it's over.
Okay.
That she believes is that correct, Lynn?
That is my understanding.
Okay, and how long do you think it's been over?
Not too long. On the 9th, I ended up finding them in a location, and it was not a good outcome.
Okay, but you think it's over, and he's living with you, and he's been making love to you, and you said the last 2 weeks has been really good. How often have you been together? This sounds like a terrible question to ask, but how often were you together in the last 2 weeks?
Almost every night, sometimes twice.
Okay, and then when you started pushing, he said, it doesn't mean anything, it's just sex. Now, ask yourself this question. When you were involved in those lovemaking sessions with him, did he appear to be emotionally connected to you during those sessions?
There were times that, yes, I believed he was, and then there were times that I could tell that he wasn't.
Okay, and how long has it been since he was involved with the other person?
Romantically, early July.
Okay, so we're talking about just a little over a month that they've been apart. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
and Kimberly's a psychologist, so I want her to speak to this, but let me give you my view on this as a sexologist. The fact that you felt that he emotionally connected with you at times probably means that he did. Now, obviously, you can misread it. There's no doubt about that. But the fact that you're making love nearly every night, sometimes twice a night, could it be that it's just sex? Possible, but probably not. Now, so you say, should I believe him? Obviously, we don't know your husband, therefore we can't tell you whether to believe him or not. But if you pushed him and he's feeling some degree of guilt, now stay with me because what I'm about to say is not going to sound good to you, but just hear the whole big picture. Sometimes when people end a relationship where they were emotionally connected to another person, and now they're still with the spouse and trying to make things work with the spouse, sometimes their interactions with their spouse will make them feel guilty as if they were somehow cheating on the person they were cheating with. I know it doesn't make sense. I know you don't want to hear that. It's not pleasant to hear. But I'm trying to help you understand what might be going on emotionally. Because when a person ends a situation like that, quite often they go through what we would call mourning or a grief period. So the fact that he was connecting with you, could it mean that sometimes it was only sexual because of the fact of his emotional or prior emotional connection with her? Yeah, it's possible. But the fact that he's making love to you that often, and the fact that you felt that he really was emotionally connecting with you, makes me think, and again, I don't know him, but makes me think that he's in a transition. And in this transition, what's occurring is the fact that he is connecting with you, but that causes him emotional turmoil because he's not that far out of the relationship with the other woman. And so when you push him and he says, oh, it's just sex, I'm guessing that mostly had to do with the fact of he didn't want to face his own emotions. Not necessarily designed to hurt you, but not wanting to face his own emotions because he's in this emotional turmoil. Having left that and beginning to reconnect with you is a confusing thing for him. And so in that sense, if I were a betting man, that's what I would bet. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm just taking a step back and thinking bigger picture. So I know that the sex is important, but bigger picture, he's there. Is he willing to make things work, or is he just trying to play a part? I mean, how are things going bigger picture?
So he had stated that that we were the choice that he wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of goes, he says that he goes back and forth where he wants to work, and then maybe he just needs to be on his own. And he says that he struggles with that.
But for the most part,
before,
he's there. Like, he's there with you guys. There's part of him that wants to make it work, even if it isn't 100% of the time. So bigger picture, even though there are days that he might vacillate, he's there.
Right. And all the emotions you just described are very typical emotions for a person that's coming out of an affair and trying to put the marriage back together.
Right.
I'm not saying that you guys are not unique, because everybody is, but you just described almost always what we see when people go through these things.
Yeah.
And so what you're describing, we would interpret as, it sounds as if the guy's really trying to make an effort.
Right.
But he's still emotionally confused and emotionally in turmoil.
And probably a sort of grief, too. We have an older podcast that you should probably go and listen to called When You Lose... Dang it, what is it called? It has
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Something to do with grief and loss. Caroline, do you remember the name of it? No, anyway, go through our podcast, and there are ones there, because when someone does end an affair, even though it was not the relationship they were supposed to be in, there's still this sense of grief and loss. I think it's how to cope when you lose the one you love, or something like that. And it goes through the thought process of what your husband may be going through right now. But I would step back and say, okay, I know he said this when I pushed him, but maybe that's not what I should focus on. There's bigger picture things to focus on. And instead of focusing on that one event, going forward another few weeks, another couple of months, and then stepping back and reassessing, then how are things going? Are things moving forward? Because right now, day to day, it's going to be different.
Exactly.
It just is.
And it can be somewhat confusing. But our opinion, and again, this is an opinion, we don't know the man, is that what you're witnessing or experiencing right now is kind of par for the course. And if you can stay strong, that it'll get better.